What up, Space Fam? Goes in here from AnimeUproar, and in this video we're going to be talking about the most ancient and overpowered clan in Naruto that's made up of horned aliens, as weird as that sounds. Of course, I'm referring to the Otsutsuki clan, and I'm making this video because we got over 4,000 likes on the Uzumaki clan video. In fact, we have over 15,000 likes as I write this script, which is insane. You guys blew me away with your response on that one. Similar deal here. Turn that like button blue, share this video with your cultured Naruto friends, and when we hit over 5,000 blue thumbs on this video, I'll get started on the next Naruto video ASAP. Leave suggestions for what topics you want me to cover next in the comments. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe, and this is crucial. Hit that notification bell and select all, or you will miss future Naruto videos, and you won't be able to comment on how you clicked faster than Minato. And that would be a huge tragedy. No one wants that, so click that bell, and while you wait for the next video to drop, you can check out my growing Naruto playlist, where you'll find videos about the Hokage, the Uchiha, the Uzumaki, and more. Link in the description. Now without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. Let's look at a brief overview / history of the clan, so we can clear up some confusion before we get into specific members. As I mentioned, the Otsutsuki are not humans but rather aliens, and Amado further defines them as parasites. We actually have the Otsutsuki clan to thank for shinobi and ninjutsu on Earth. The clan members traveled through dimensions. They would plant 10-tail saplings, which would become god trees, across universes and dimensions, so they could harvest their fruit. The god tree's roots spread across a planet and absorb energy from it, including from its inhabitants. In general, the planet would die in the process, and the god tree would grow a large chakra fruit, which could grant the Otsutsuki godlike power and longevity. Then the Otsutsuki clan members would move on to other worlds and dimensions, searching for another god tree and another chakra fruit. According to Amado, Otsutsuki clan members Kaguya and Isshiki came to Earth long ago with the usual objective of planting the god tree and harvesting its chakra fruit. But Kaguya had a change of plans and turned against Isshiki. Kaguya, against the wishes of Isshiki and the rest of her clan, consumed the Earth's chakra fruit by herself and gained godlike power. She used infinite Tsukuyomi to stop war between humans and to bring about peace temporarily. She turned the imprisoned infinite Tsukuyomi victims into a white Zetsu army that could help her fight back against any angered clansmen, who would now want to punish Kaguya and take away her chakra. In the eyes of the Otsutsuki clan at large, Kaguya was a traitor. Kaguya eventually gave birth to two sons, Hagoromo, aka the Sage of Six Paths, aka the ancestor of Shinobi, and Hamura, the ancestor of the Hyuga clan, who ended up piecing out to the moon. These two were the first people born with the ability to wield chakra. But Kaguya was not happy because she wanted all the chakra, so she turned against her sons. She combined with the Earth's god tree and became the Ten-Tails. Hagoromo and Hamura ended up defeating the Ten-Tails with their sealing jutsu Six Paths Chibaku Tensei, and created the moon in the process. So the husk of the Ten-Tails was trapped inside the newly formed moon, while the juicy chakra of the Ten-Tails was sealed into Hagoromo, making him the first Jinchuriki. Hagoromo gave birth to two sons, Indra and Asura Otsutsuki, sometimes called Ashura Otsutsuki depending on the translation. The Uchiha clan would come from Indra's bloodline, while the Uzumaki and Senju clan would come from Asura's bloodline. And as we know, their descendants like them would be born with the ability to use chakra and ninjutsu. Indra Otsutsuki is actually credited with being the creator of ninjutsu. Before he died, Hagoromo split the chakra of the Ten-Tails into 9-tailed beasts, so that it would be even more difficult for the Ten-Tails and thus Kaguya to be reborn. So in short, aliens invaded the Earth, and as a result, humans gained ninja superpowers. Now let's move on to the specific known members of the clan. Let's start off with Otsutsuki number 1, the Otsutsuki betrayer herself, Princess Kaguya Otsutsuki, the former matriarch of the Otsutsuki clan. As I mentioned, she was partners with Isshiki before she betrayed him, took the Earth's chakra fruit for herself, and became the first wielder of chakra on Earth. She's also been referred to as the progenitor of chakra and the mother of chakra because she accidentally passed on chakra to her two sons, Hagoromo and Hamura Otsutsuki, and their descendants. As I mentioned, she tried to take the chakra back by fusing with the god tree and becoming the Ten-Tails, but failed. In the anime, Kaguya possessed significant abilities even before she ate the Earth's chakra fruit. Obviously, she could travel across universes and dimensions, and she had the genjutsu-like abilities of hypnotizing people, putting them to sleep, and even erasing their memories. Offensively, she could unleash a shockwave from her eyes that could kill people. When Kaguya ate the chakra fruit and gained godlike power, she subdued the constantly warring land. She was believed to be a goddess by some and a demon by others. She was so strong that Hagoromo, represented as a godlike figure himself, and Hamura had to work together and battle with her for months until they finally defeated her, only for her to return again in Naruto's time. That gives you a sense of just how strong and resilient Princess Kaguya was. Like most Otsutsuki clan members, Kaguya can levitate/fly, and she can even read people's minds in the anime. During the fight against Naruto and Sasuke, she could, as Sakura pointed out, rewrite the world of her dimensions in an instant, allowing her to create a world of ice in the process and freeze Naruto and Sasuke in place. As can be expected from the mother of chakra, her chakra reserves are off the charts, well surpassing that of Ten Tails Jinchuriki Madara. On top of that, Kaguya can absorb jutsu, which unfortunately makes the extremely cool and formerly OP jutsu Amaterasu useless. By touching Naruto and Sasuke, she can, at least temporarily, prevent them from moving while absorbing their chakra. She can use the famous Genjutsu Infinite Tsukuyomi, which can potentially trap everyone in the world in an illusion, while Kaguya siphons off their chakra. Kaguya claims that she's immortal, and there's something to this, since she can regenerate quickly and regrow lost limbs. So it makes sense that the characters have to actually seal her away in order to defeat her. Understandably, the mother of chakra has great mastery over chakra and can use all 5 nature transformations and yin and yang release. She can use her long hair as a weapon in battle, or even create life that will be the physical manifestation of her will, like Black Zetsu. Notably, Kaguya can use her all-killing ash bones technique to launch her bones at opponents. They can simply protrude from her body, or she can launch them as projectiles. Upon contact, living things will disintegrate into ash, making this an exceptionally deadly technique. Kaguya can also use the hella OP, more expansive truth-seeking ball. Unlike normal truth-seeking orbs, which can't be regenerated once destroyed, this one can be created by Kaguya. It has the power to reshape the world by obliterating it first. Kaguya also has the Byakugan, which got passed down to Hamura, and the Rinne Sharingan as a third eye on her forehead, which is the predecessor of both the Sharingan and the Rinnegan, which got passed down through Hagoromo. The Byakugan lets her see people's chakra pathway system and to recognize that Naruto and Sasuke are reincarnations of Asura and Indra. It also gives her almost 360-degree X-ray vision, and notably, her Byakugan is supposed to be far more powerful than Hamura's. Among other things, the Rinne Sharingan lets her cast and recognize Genjutsu, use Infinite Tsukuyomi, and teleport herself and others across space and dimensions. With this third eye, Kaguya can manipulate the roots of the god tree and turn people into white Zetsu, while she gains incredible power from absorbing their chakra. As mentioned, Kaguya can also become the Ten Tails when fused with the god tree. And now let's get to the second Otsutsuki on this list, the Sage of Six Paths, Hagoromo Otsutsuki himself. Hagoromo has been called the Sage of Six Paths, the god of shinobi, the savior of the world, and the god sage of Six Paths. Titles don't get much more fancy than those. He also holds the title of being the very first Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails, no less. In the original Naruto series, Hagoromo is considered to be the strongest figure in history, aside from his mother Kaguya, whom he had to team up with his brother to seal away. His own twin brother Hamura admitted that Hagoromo was the stronger of the two. Hagoromo is so OP that even after his death, he can still observe the world, talk to people, and even give them his chakra to make them ridiculously stronger than they were before. Hagoromo had it all, power and huge chakra reserves. Since he is the older fraternal twin, he is considered to be the first being born with chakra. He had an innate understanding and mastery over it so that he could use chakra without hand seals. Obviously, his chakra reserves and power got even more ridiculous when he became the Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails. Hagoromo also had very impressive healing powers that could seemingly heal anyone of anything. In the anime, he could create blades of lightning or slice through things with wind release. Not only did he master yin and yang release, he could combine them to use the creation of all things technique, which allowed him to create physical forms out of nothingness and then to breathe life into them. This is pretty much as godly as a technique can get, and Hagoromo used it to create the nine-tailed beasts. His sealing techniques were amazing. As we saw, he used sealing to defeat Kaguya, to seal the husk of the Ten Tails in the newly formed moon, and to become the first ever Jinchuriki. Manga-only fans might not know this, but in the anime, Hagoromo developed the Sharingan before the Rinnegan. It immediately had all three Tomoe. It also eventually evolved into the Mangekyo Sharingan that allowed him to summon a complete body Susanoo that could deflect a tailed beast bomb from the Ten Tails. As far as we know, he didn't have the drawbacks usually associated with the Mangekyo Sharingan, like deteriorating eyesight. Nagato, a very powerful character within the Naruto universe, openly admitted that his power was nothing compared to that of Hagoromo's. And of course he had the Rinnegan, which he arguably mastered like no other. This gave him access to all of the 6 paths techniques, which I discussed in my Uzumaki video with Nagato and in my Uchiha video as well. If you want a more detailed breakdown on the Rinnegan, you can check out those videos. Hagoromo could also summon souls from the Pure Land, which is the afterlife in Naruto. Souls can be reincarnated from the Pure Land using impure world reincarnation, but not if they are sealed away, in which case their souls wouldn't be in the Pure Land. Hagoromo can also flex on a user of the impure world reincarnation technique by releasing souls from their vessels and returning them to the Pure Land. In the anime, the oldest and most revered toad, Gamamaru, aka the Great Toad Sage, taught Hagoromo Senjutsu or Sage Mode. Perhaps unsurprisingly at this point, Hagoromo excelled at Senjutsu to the point where Gamamaru was shocked at how fast and well this dude was picking it up. Hagoromo developed his own unique and advanced Senjutsu known as 6 Paths Senjutsu, which let him fly. Flying is not anything crazy for an Otsutsuki, but very cool nonetheless. And we know that Hagoromo could grant his 6 Paths Senjutsu to others even after being long dead, which is how we got 6 Paths Sage Mode Naruto. Hagoromo also has the all nature transformations and yin/yang release packed truth-seeking orbs. He can use truth-seeking orbs to create other objects like a staff or the famous sword of Nunoboko, a double helix-shaped sword which Obito claims can create the world and destroy it as well. Then there were the treasured tools of the Sage of 6 Paths, which used so much chakra that they could kill the average person if used. They were no problem for Hagoromo though, who used them to generate any element, seal people into a gourd, and more. And now we move on to Otsutsuki number 3, the eldest son of Hagoromo and the ancestor of the Uchiha clan, Indra Otsutsuki. Madara and Sasuke were reincarnations of Indra. Indra was the older and at first much more talented brother. He wanted to succeed his father, but then Hagoromo chose his younger brother Asura to be his successor. Indra did not take this well, and the two brothers were pit against each other, destined to fight through their reincarnations for generations to come. Indra inherited Hagoromo's eye powers, namely the Sharingan. He'd eventually unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan and have access to a complete body Susanoo. He had powerful chakra and precise chakra control. He excelled in taijutsu. Like Uchiha prodigies that would follow him, like Itachi for instance, Indra easily outclassed his peers. Indra expanded Hagoromo's teaching of Ninshu into the fighting style we know today as ninjutsu. Thus, Indra and not Hagoromo is credited as the original creator of ninjutsu. Unlike Hagoromo, Indra couldn't just freely manipulate chakra, and so he had to come up with hand seals to help him out. These hand seals would become foundational for all shinobi. He really was like the first ninja, creating the first clone technique along with the first body replacement technique, techniques that would become go-to moves for the ninja of the future. Indra even fashioned primitive kunai. Hagoromo was amazed at Indra's talent and creativity, and that means a lot coming from the so-called God Sage of 6 Paths. As far as nature transformations go, Indra could use fire and lightning as well as yin release. Obviously, this makes sense since Sasuke, his reincarnation, has always been heavily associated with fire and lightning release as well. Indra would use lightning release to augment his natural strength and speed, using it to easily penetrate through flesh or to assist him with his body flicker technique. Indra could use his Sharingan to paralyze a person with his gaze, and as mentioned, eventually unlock the Mangekyo and thus the full body Susanoo as well. In the anime, Indra's Mangekyo could also use Hino Kagutsuchi, a technique that produced black flames similar to Amaterasu. Now let's move on to Otsutsuki number 4, Asura, the younger brother of Indra and the ancestor of both the Senju and Uzumaki clans. Like Naruto, who was Asura's reincarnation, Asura seemed untalented early on. Think about how Naruto failed the graduation exam 3 times. While it's said that Indra inherited his father's eyes, Asura is said to have inherited his body, and this meant that he was eventually able to rival his brother's power. Hagoromo preferred Asura's philosophy, which was based on love rather than on power, and as a result made him his successor and blessed him with his power. This allowed Asura to defeat Indra, just like Hashirama would go on to defeat Madara, and Naruto would go on to defeat Sasuke in their subsequent reincarnations. Like Indra, Asura was skilled in taijutsu, but he also had a uniquely powerful life force and great stamina. These traits would go on to be inherited by his descendants. For instance, the Uzumaki clan are known for their especially powerful life force, and that's what made it possible for Naruto and his mother to be Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. In the anime, Asura was adept at sensing chakra, healing people, and could even launch his own Rasengan-esque move called Ameno Mi Hashira. It's a very interesting move where Asura creates 5 spiraling chakra orbs that look a lot like Rasengans and encases them in a larger orb. When hit with another attack, the larger barrier orb will absorb the blow, letting the other spheres continue. The chakra spheres will then explode on contact. This move is not in the manga, but if these chakra spheres are anything like the Rasengan, then you can imagine the chakra control required to do something this crazy. When it came to nature transformations like Naruto, Asura excelled in wind release. Asura's wind release could cut through rock or protect him from enemy attacks, like a true airbender. He also had access to the earth and water release baby known as wood release, the OP release that the first Hokage was well known for. In the anime, he could use the Sage Art wood release true several hands technique, just like Hashirama. And after receiving his father's powers, he could use all 5 basic transformations, as well as Yin and Yang release. As if a giant wooden avatar wasn't enough, after he inherited his father's powers, he gained access to 6-path Senjutsu and an orange Kurama-looking chakra avatar with 3 faces and 6 arms, known as Kunitsukami. Kunitsukami could do battle with Indra's full-body Susanoo, and Asura even had truth-seeking orbs that he could use in combination with it. Clearly, in the anime they added a lot of features from Hashirama and Naruto into the character of Asura, since they were his reincarnations. Asura also had a wife that was revealed in the anime, Otsutsuki number 5, Kana Otsutsuki. She lived in a village where Asura was helping out. They met, they fell in love, they married. Obviously, she married into the clan, so she won't be as OP as most members on this list. However, she did excel in healing jutsu and learned the mystical palm technique, where you apply your hand to the wounded body part and send chakra into it. The technique accelerates the body's own healing abilities, but not everyone can use it, since you need to be able to use just enough chakra, or you can do more harm than good. Now let's turn to Hagoromo's younger brother Hamura, aka Otsutsuki number 6. He is the ancestor of the Hyuga clan and was the leader of the shinobi on the moon. As I mentioned, he pieced out to the moon where the husk of the Ten Tails was sealed after he and Hagoromo defeated their mother Kaguya. Even though Hamura was not as strong as Hagoromo, he was still one of the strongest figures in the Naruto universe. Like Hagoromo, he inherited his mother's powerful chakra and was even able to transcend death itself. Even after death, Hamura could appear before shinobi and grant them his power, just like Hagoromo did with Naruto. Hamura actually gave power to Hinata Hyuga, his descendant. So yeah, Boruto is pretty much bound to be OP. One parent is descended from Hagoromo and got chakra from him, while the other is descended from Hamura and got chakra from him. Within Boruto is the perfect OP Otsutsuki cocktail, so I look forward to seeing how this insane potential continues to manifest itself. Hamura had the Byakugan, allowing him to have nearly 360-degree X-ray vision and to see the chakra pathway system. He also appears to have had the Tenseigan, a special dojutsu or eye power that evolves from the Byakugan. Although we don't see him with the uniquely colored eyes, it is suggested that he had them in a Naruto movie, and that he sealed their power in an energy vessel, also called the Tenseigan. And it would be cool if he did have his own evolved dojutsu, since Hagoromo did get the Sharingan, Mangekyo Sharingan, and eventually the Rinnegan as well, so it's only fair. Anyways, the Tenseigan energy vessel was also fueled by the Byakugan of other Otsutsuki clan members on the moon. The power of the energy vessel could animate puppets, letting them act as effective servants. It could also be used as a weapon, and the branch family of the Otsutsuki clan on the moon used it to beat the main family. That's how powerful it was. It can even send the moon crashing into the earth. Only Hamura's chakra can destroy it, which is why Hamura's spirit gives his chakra to Hinata, so she can work together with Naruto in order to finally stop the OP weapon. And although we don't see Hamura use it, we do get to learn about its powers from Toneri Otsutsuki, more on him later. But some notable Tenseigan powers include the ability to enter Tenseigan chakra mode and manifest truth-seeking orbs, to use attraction and repulsion powers that are strong enough to move the moon itself, and the ability to summon a golem that can fight with Kurama, and even the ability to create a chakra sword that can straight up slice the moon in half. Toneri's Tenseigan fades after Naruto punches him in the face, but we can assume that Hamura's would have been much less sensitive. So yeah, all around a very powerful dojutsu. Besides this, Hamura could teleport to the moon and back free really. He was skilled enough in sealing jutsu to help his brother defeat the all-powerful Kaguya, and he was able to use six-path senjutsu just like Hagoromo, which allowed him to fly as well. He had truth-seeking orbs also. All in all, Hamura is an interesting figure that added a cool dimension to the Hyuga clan, making them unique and not just another offshoot of Hagoromo. Now, since we already mentioned him, let's address Toneri, our 7th Otsutsuki. He was the descendant and only survivor of the Otsutsuki clan on the moon. He was specifically from the branch family, not the main family, another parallel with the Hyuga clan. Toneri was not on Hamura's level and couldn't just awaken the Tenseigan. He needed to first take the Byakugan of a Hyuga clan member and then wait for them to mature into the Tenseigan. He took Hinata's sister's eyes and then wanted to marry Hinata. And when I was watching the movie, the whole time I was thinking that stealing a girl's sister's eyes is probably not the best way to win her over, but whatever. Toneri is clearly not the most socially calibrated dude. Among his notable achievements, he could for a time fight evenly with Naruto Uzumaki, the strongest shinobi who helped defeat Kaguya herself. He was able to communicate with other people from great distances through their dreams or through projections. Toneri could mind read, absorb chakra, and spy on the happenings on Earth from the moon. He had an army of puppets at his disposal that were animated by the power of the Tenseigan energy vessel, which was also under Toneri's control. Toneri can even turn people into puppets by placing a sphere of chakra within them. Although born with the Byakugan, his eyes were sealed away in the energy vessel, so he had to use his sense rather than his vision, until he transplanted Hanabi Hyuga's eyes into himself. These eyes eventually matured into the Tenseigan, which allowed him to access the Tenseigan chakra mode that allowed him to compete against Naruto. In this mode, he had truth-seeking orbs, could deplete chakra, could earthbend the moon and launch chunks of it at Naruto, could use attraction and repulsion to control something as big as the moon, could use a huge chakra sword to cut the moon in two, and could form a golem strong enough to keep Kurama busy. He was definitely strong, but easy to defeat since the Tenseigan faded away after one satisfying punch to the face from Naruto. And you gotta expect a punch to the face if you tried to steal Hinata from Naruto, as Toneri did. We also briefly saw Otsutsuki number 8 in the movie as well. He was the unnamed head to the main family on the moon. As usual, his Byakugan was taken at birth and put into the Tenseigan. He was killed when the branch family used that very Tenseigan against him and the rest of the main family. We don't know much about his powers, but he was able to share his past with Hinata, showing that he was another who could appear and help even after his physical death. Otsutsuki number 9 is none other than the current villain in the Boruto manga, Isshiki. Isshiki, as we discover, was actually the partner of Kaguya, but was betrayed by her. He was on the verge of death, but encountered a monk named Jigen and survived by shrinking himself so that he could enter the monk's body and absorb his nutrients. His power is insane. In a weaker form, still in Jigen's body and not fully reincarnated, Jigen was able to defeat the combined forces of Naruto and Sasuke, although his imperfect vessel did reach its limit in the process. According to Amado, Isshiki with his full power would be able to destroy the earth itself and no one would be able to stop him. As we learn, Isshiki and other Otsutsuki clan members use the ability Kama or Karma depending on the translation you use. Karma lets the Otsutsuki create a backup of themselves in a host, and then the Karma matures until the Otsutsuki is fully reincarnated in their body. Of course, it's not that simple, it can't just be any body. If the body is imperfect, it won't be able to take the power of the Otsutsuki, and the Otsutsuki will die unless they find a better vessel. For this reason, Amado, along with Kashin Koji, helped to get Isshiki to reincarnate in Jigen's dead body, instead of Kawaki's. Now Isshiki is stronger than before the reincarnation, but he only has a few days before the body falls apart. In that time, he hopes to impart another karma onto Kawaki, which would supposedly lead to a perfect vessel, in which case he would be, in theory, unstoppable. Isshiki was durable AF, and could take kicks from Naruto in 6-path Sage mode and be fine. Toneri couldn't even take a punch, so that shows that even among the Otsutsuki, Isshiki is on a whole other level. Isshiki can fly, which makes sense for an Otsutsuki. He can absorb chakra as well, so that even the highest level of fire release, Amaterasu, has no effect on him. Isshiki has also fought with black rods that can drain chakra from the punctured enemy. He can use space-time ninjutsu to travel across vast distances and even dimensions, and he was skilled enough to seal Naruto away. He called out Sasuke's Susanoo for being slow and broke through its armor to get to Sasuke like it was nothing. With Isshiki's right eye, he is able to use Sukuna Hikona, which allows him to shrink himself and any non-living thing around him and to restore them back back to normal size. Once he shrinks things, he can use Daikokuten to store them in another dimension in which time doesn't flow. Then with his gaze, he can re-manifest them at their normal size. In this way, he could unexpectedly drop massive objects on opponents in a split second and cause massive damage. He even used this ability with a glass of wine, which was classy AF. He also uses this ability in conjunction with his chakra-absorbing black rods. Overall, as you can see, Isshiki is an absolute beast, and I can't wait to see how they end up stopping him in Boruto. Otsutsuki number 10 is Momoshiki, another chakra-hungry Otsutsuki who was investigating what happened to Kaguya and ended up being defeated by a father-son Rasengan from Boruto. But Momoshiki did manage to place his karma on the boy. In the anime, Momoshiki claims that he could have defeated Kaguya. After absorbing Kinshiki Otsutsuki, who we'll get into in a bit, he was pretty much able to flex on the Kage. As he had Naruto and friends trapped in place with the shadow paralysis technique, it was Boruto who came to rescue with his vanishing Rasengan. If not for Boruto, Momoshiki would have likely taken home the W, albeit Katasuke was partially to blame for that because his attack was absorbed by Momoshiki and thus restored his exhausted power. Even after being killed, Momoshiki's spirit or chakra could appear before Boruto, for whom it seemed like time stopped. At this point, he left him with his karma and apparently saw Boruto's fate with his Byakugan. Obviously, his Byakugan could also do the usual near 360-degree X-ray vision stuff and see the chakra pathway system. Momoshiki also had a pair of Rinnegan in the palms of his hands. His right could absorb any chakra-based technique, through his left he could release that absorbed technique, but with magnified power. Then he could turn people into pills that he could consume for continued longevity. He would gain not only their chakra, but their techniques as well. Like other Naruto characters we've seen, Momoshiki uses black receiver rods to fight. They can be fired at opponents in order to restrain them or even kill them. Momoshiki could also use space-time ninjutsu to travel across dimensions, but it would take a lot of chakra. Instead of truth-seeking orbs, Momoshiki used the tool creation technique, which let him create weapons and telepathically control them. With the Rinnegan, he can use all 5 nature transformations, including especially powerful fire release and wind release techniques, and could even create a golem that was beating Kurama until Sasuke surrounded it with Susanoo. In the novel, he was capable of using wood release as well, just like Asura in the first Hokage. Currently, his karma power means that he's slowly taking over Boruto until he gains complete control of his body. There have already been instances where Momoshiki took over Boruto's body, like when he was fighting against Boro. Through Boruto's body, Momoshiki flew, called Boro an inferior creature since he has a god complex, absorbed chakra from Naruto, and finished Boro off with an absolutely massive Rasengan, next to which Boruto looked like an ant. For now, Momoshiki's karma has been a cool Kurama-esque power boost for Boruto, but the more time passes, the greater the danger that Momoshiki will fully resurrect and Boruto will be gone forever. For Otsutsuki number 11, we got Kinshiki, another member of the Otsutsuki main family and Momoshiki's foster father. He was subservient to Momoshiki. He consumed his guardian's chakra and was ready to let Momoshiki consume him. Kinshiki used the tool creation technique in battle as well. He'd create glowing red weapons like a giant axe and wield them proficiently in battle. He could also launch them telepathically. He was another flyer and he excelled in sensing chakra, which allowed him to locate the chakra of the tailed beasts. He could surround himself in purple lightning to increase his power and speed, and even Sasuke seemed noticeably surprised by said speed. Probably in part because Kinshiki is not the skinniest guy around. Kinshiki also possessed the Byakugan, which are pretty standard issue for most Otsutsuki. He appeared to fight equally with Sasuke until the latter saw Momoshiki too and decided to escape using space-time ninjutsu. However, Sasuke did cut off the tip of Kinshiki's horn, which bothered Kinshiki to no end. So although he was like Momoshiki's assistant, he was strong and even multiple Kage failed to stop him. He peaced out on his terms, being absorbed by his foster son. Otsutsuki number 12 is the anime-only Urashiki, another member of the main family who tagged along with Momoshiki and Kinshiki on their trip to Earth. Another guy who could take on multiple Kage, except this one used a fishing rod as a weapon. Like most other Otsutsuki, he could fly and survive in space. He could absorb most techniques. Believe it or not, his fishing rod could break through strong defenses and take chakra from an opponent. That chakra would be stored in his gourd, and he could then use the techniques of that person. For instance, with Gaara's chakra, he could create and manipulate sand in battle. Other notable abilities include being able to use space-time ninjutsu to travel to other dimensions, being able to to create and use black receiver rods in battle, being able to control puppets without chakra strings, as well as being able to use barrier ninjutsu for protection. Copying powers is always a useful ability to have, and by the end of it, Urashiki was able to use many kinds of different powers, including lightning release, wind release, fire release, earth release. He could manipulate his shadow to trap opponents, and use genjutsu to control a person's actions, and more. Like most Otsutsuki, he possessed the Byakugan. Unlike most Otsutsuki though, he could transform his eyes into the Rinnegan. Uniquely, he was able to use different powers by changing the Rinnegan's color. Red meant being able to warp through space, time, and dimensions. Blue meant temporal rewind, allowing him to warp several seconds into the past. And his own personal version of the body replacement technique didn't involve logs or even crows like Itachi's, but red origami cranes. Despite his insane powers and the transformation, Urashiki was eventually defeated after traveling through time by a father-son Rasengan with some help from Sasuke and Jiraiya. And given its power and recurring usefulness, I'd say the father-son Rasengan is a worthy successor to the father-son Kamehameha from Dragon Ball, which it always makes me think of. And that is it for this truly long video about the Otsutsuki clan. Among other powers, we saw most of the OP Kekkei Genkai that we know of in this clan, including the Sharingan, Rinnegan, Byakugan, Tenseigan, and even Wood Release. Despite constantly popping up as villains, the Otsutsuki clan is actually the predecessor of all other ninja clans. If not for these aliens, we wouldn't have all of the cool chakra-based powers and techniques that we've come to know so well. Ironically, while wanting all chakra for herself, Kaguya actually ended up spreading the chakra and creating fighters strong enough to stop her and even other Otsutsuki. Anyways, if you did enjoy the video and to unlock the next one, make sure to smash that like button, turn it blue, and share this video with your cultured Naruto friends. When we hit 5,000 likes, I'll get started on the next one ASAP. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe, and this is crucial, hit that notification bell and set it to all, or you will end up missing future Naruto videos. Leave suggestions for what video you want to see next, and I'll pick one from the comment section below. And while you wait for that video to drop, feel free to check out my Naruto playlist where I got videos about the Hokage, Uchiha, Uzumaki, and more. Link in the description. A very special thank you goes to our patrons over on Patreon who help make videos like this one possible. First and foremost, I want to thank the patron of legend, the one acknowledged by Lord Twigo himself, Alpha Sigma. And are the 1-tier patrons, the ones who stand atop all clans: Steven Ingrata, Alola Natem, The World, Steelers, Acquire Respect, Pate Hefa, Jonathan King, Brandon Aviles, Papa Smurf, Emperor Otaku, Thomas Jones, Kin Mano, and Admirath. And our Pro Hero tier patrons, the one and only Gilgamesh, who's the current most donated overall champion of the world. Nothing But a Fan, Jason Wilson, King Zeldris, Anatoly Kazatsky, Angel Cruz, Cricket XP, Joe Stanton, Very Gucci, Alicia Actor, Jessica Kayla Fond, Hinokami and Water, Bonnie Parks, Rithuan De Ora, Deadly Saint, and Stern Hawkins. Thank you all so much. If you enjoy our work, you can support more of it by going over to patreon.com/AnimeUproar and becoming a patron today for as little as $1. If you do so, you'll get your name featured in future videos alongside these epic people right here, and you'll even get access to our private patron-only Discord where we talk about anime life and of course dank memes. So check out patreon.com/AnimeUproar, link in the description if you're interested. You can also join the YouTube channel by clicking that blue join button next to the subscribe button that you've hopefully already destroyed. So yeah, you can support more content that way if you prefer. Whichever way you choose to support us, you can get the same great benefits. Thanks again, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys!